Kathryn, welcome to the NTM Growth Marketing Podcast. It's an honor to have you here today.
Thank you for asking me to be on it. This is my first time, so bear with me, but I'm excited. I can talk about MoveU and my job all day long, so it should be fun.
Well, that's a good intro to the conversation. Tell us, what is your role at MoveU? What is the company all about? And tell us a little bit about what your day-to-day looks like.
Okay, so I'll start with what MoveU is. MoveU is essentially, we have such a hard time explaining this, which is not good, but it's an online-based company that teaches people how to understand their bodies better, move better. Like our mission statement is essentially to move better, to feel better, and ultimately live better. So we provide education online that people can better align and strengthen their bodies for long-term success, to be active and do all the things that we want to do in this life.
And what's your role at the organization?
I am the digital marketing manager. I'll give you more of a week. Okay.
Yeah, share what going on in the week for you.
Yeah. So in a week, I work really closely. So I know you know this, but our team is very small. So we all wear a lot of hats, which I love. It has its challenges, but having a small team just, makes you that much closer. But that being said, I work with almost every single person on the company every day. I work really closely with our social media manager. We plan out daily initiatives, weekly, monthly, annual, and kind of map out what our plan is. And in addition to, I create the social ads, work with our ads campaign manager on that. I oversee Google Analytics. My primary, I would say what I'm working on the most is the e-commerce side of things. So email campaigns, automations, retention, win back, all of that. And then I get to obviously help out on the creative side of things. I'm not a creative genius by any means. I'm not on Adobe. I'm on Canva. Okay. I'm on your basic technology, but it works for us. But I love the creative side of things. So I get to do a lot of the branding and designing as well. Create for the website, anything that's in our actual product release as well. And then, I think creating a lot of digital assets that add value for our company, whatever that may be. And that changes every day too, just taking feedback from customers and saying, hey, could you create this? This would be helpful. This is a good tool. And creating those tools as well. Landing pages, ClickFunnels, all of it.
What do you enjoy the most? Because it sounds like you're dabbling in every area of it. What kind of lights you up the most each week that you get to run with?
I like campaigns. I really like campaigns. I think it's fun.
Campaigns?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, advertising campaigns?
Yes. Or just as a whole, yeah. This might sound like minuscule, but our biggest campaigns honestly run around holidays, for example. And our whole entire team plays a part. So it's really fun, I think, to see everybody do what they're best at and pull together and then create this cohesive, magical campaign that runs across all of our platforms and see it really come through and come to life. Because again, I like creating. I'm not a pro, but I love the creative side. I love branding. So I get to dive a lot in the branding side. And that's where I just get to be creative all day. And that's fun.
So let me ask you this about one of your campaigns. So I don't know if it was this past year or 2020 for Halloween, and you did a really risque campaign that was definitely pushing the edges. Can you share a little bit about, step one, what was even the first conversation like? As knowing Mike and Katie too on your team, they're super energetic, creative, charismatic. What is that dialogue like at just the entry point in that discovery process?
Oh, that's a good question. So I don't know if you're talking about, because we do some risque things, do not get me wrong, but when I'm thinking of Halloween, I'm thinking of our playoff of The Ring that we did, that crazy ad of literally acting like we're in the movie scene The Ring.
That one, and then there was the one with the whip, I believe.
Oh, but okay. That is more of our pelvic health side of things, which, yeah, actually that's a great topic to bring up, because I think campaigning our pelvic health program in particular is what is I've noted as one of my favorite campaigns, because we are not scared, like you said, to like touch on taboo
Mhm.
topics. If it comes to your health, we're going to talk about it.
Mhm.
So we have no rules in regards to if it's going to better someone's life, even if it's something they're like a little uncomfortable with talking about, or even unaware that's something to pay attention to.
Mhm.
We will go for it, and yeah, we'll go for it all the way. So for pelvic health stuff, I mean, first of all, let me just start off by saying that what we give to the audience is oftentimes they're more powerful than they realize. So it's a lot of times listening to like what people are asking for. Specifically, I'll talk a lot about Instagram probably in this conversation, because that's where
Well, you guys dominate Instagram.
it's where we have the most success. So Instagram is definitely like our world that we live in. But people are obviously constantly like DMing us, asking us questions. I think DMs are powerful just because it can feel a little bit more personable, and they don't have to ask such, maybe awkward or uncomfortable
Right.
questions out in front of everybody. So oftentimes it's the people themselves that give us the ideas. They ask us the same questions over and over again. And things like hemorrhoids, okay? We get questions all the time in DMs like, I have hemorrhoids. I don't want to talk about it out loud to everyone, but can you guys help me in this right direction? So we take hemorrhoids and we're like, okay, we're going to make a whole video and we're going to talk about hemorrhoids and talk about how common it is. Why is it taboo? Create anatomy art around it, which I think is probably what sets us apart from a lot of other companies that do what we do. We do anatomy art, right? We want people to like visually see what's going on with the body.
Mhm.
Um, and well, we continue to do campaigns for the pelvic floor multiple times a year, but it's really about confronting those topics that are uncomfortable for people and then making it more comfortable, making it entertaining. Like, education can be boring maybe at times, right? If you think about school, our goal is to make education as entertaining as possible. And if you like who we are on, let's say, social on Instagram, you're more likely to like our actual product. But that's important for the consumer to say, like, do I like these people or not? If you relate to us, come on inside, become an insider. But yeah, it's really oftentimes from the people, and then us finding funny, often ways to make uncomfortable topics more comfortable for people.
I love all of that. And I mean, I go on your Instagram channel daily just to see what content is going to be there, which kind of transitions into this question. And you have such a giving brand with your content, and you don't need to dive into, numbers of how much it costs and whatnot. But I know it's a lot of money and a lot of time for just the sheer quantity of free content you distribute on your social channels. Can you talk about why that's an organizational philosophy of you all to give so much?
Yeah, absolutely. That is a really good question, because it's really why MoveU exists. Um, Dr. Mike, the founder of the company, essentially the reason why MoveU started was because he felt like the healthcare system was broken.
Mhm.
He felt like it was unfair that people had to depend on expensive doctors, chiropractors, PTs, visitations, surgeries, medications. Like, he felt like there was information being withheld from a lot of people in this world to better themselves. And it's not, healthcare should be for everybody and not just for the affluent. So it started with him just saying, hey, I'm going to teach you as much that I know so that you can take that information and you can help yourself with the long term of things without going to school and getting your doctorate. Because, Dr. Mike did that, spent a lot of money doing it. But he's like, people have the right to know the truth, which doesn't always mean that you have to, even himself, right? He started he is a chiropractor, and he worked with people in person for many, many years. But he found that a lot of people, felt that they needed to depend on him or other health professionals. And he doesn't want people to feel like they have to depend on these health professionals and spend all the money they have, which causes other health ailments, right? So
Right.
you're already in pain, and then you're stressed out financially. And we know that stress does a lot on the body as well. So he started by just basically wanting to give everybody around the world as much free education about their bodies as possible without even having to come to him every week. He thinks chiropractors are genius. He thinks that they're, like there's a lot of benefits, but they're not the solution. And he strongly feels that way. So he makes sure to just educate people that that's a step, it might make you feel better. It's a step in the right direction that you're searching and seeking to better yourself, but you don't have to spend all your money to try and, I don't know, survive in this world to be happy. So he made that accessible for everybody. But that doesn't, bring in necessarily the money for us, right? Which is like kind of your point. You're like, wait, that's a lot of expensive free content. And that's where people need structure. And then that's where our product comes in, is I think people really, truly need structure to do something as aggressive as changing their lifestyle.
When I first even discovered MoveU, something that I saw was really interesting on the channel was how many pro athletes are fans of your brand. This might have been even before your time working at MoveU, but like, for instance, Joe Rogan follows the account. Do you know how, this picked up in more of the influencer pro athlete market, that they're going to Dr. Mike to learn about these things?
Yeah, I mean, well,
I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but just curious for my own curiosity.
Yeah, I mean, one part of that is the fact. So MoveU's Instagram was built originally completely organically. They got a really large following quickly, which you don't really hear of much anymore. So the fact that it was happening so organically made it clear that there is a community of people that found something that they were unable to find before. Well, Joe Rogan in particular is, I'm pretty sure he's actually mentioned MoveU at one point in one of his podcasts. Yeah. And
you need to find that clip.
I know, I need to talk. Dr. Mike is like very proud of this. I don't even know if it was even like super positive. He was probably making fun of us for all we knew, but we're like, say our name, we're fine, we're in there. And then, so that's just, I think a lot of it's just from organic social and having the amount of following that we have attracted some people that we wouldn't have never expected. So Dr. Mike, by the way, sometimes he doesn't even, I'll be like, oh my God, this comedian's following us. I love him. Like, have you seen this? And he's like, who? Like, he really isn't super on top of all the trends or like celebrities or actors. Sports is a different story. Sports, he's like worked with some, before MoveU became MoveU, he's worked with like Antonio Brown for years. So I think that also opened up some doors.
Yeah, I got my Steelers blanket right here. So
nice. You're on it. Yeah. So I think, like, honestly, surprisingly organic. I mean, it just from having being graced with the possibility to have such a large following and then attracting, more influential people. But yeah, it's I'm always so excited to see anybody that I recognize on there, just because you're like, hey, we made it. Someone sees us out there. But yeah, Dr. Mike Athlet on the sports side of things is more just because he worked with quite a few professional athletes before MoveU was a thing, when he was still in office and a chiropractor.
Let me ask you this about your video content, because you deploy so much video content, and what are the ingredients that make a video, I don't even want to say go viral, but an awesome video? What are some of the ingredients that you would recommend?
So like you mentioned earlier, like, we're lucky enough to have these personalities on our team that were literally born, they came out of the womb ready to entertain. Like both Katie and Mike, they both are very just outgoing, enthusiastic, like you want to gravitate towards them in the room the minute you walk into the same room as them. So that is a huge, valuable asset that I think it was where the foundation was. And then going into, of course, our team stays on top of trends, where a lot of us are a little bit on the younger side. I mean, we're all over the place, but staying on top of trends is important. And like I was kind of mentioning earlier, like, people don't realize the power they have over the content that they're receiving. So a lot of the times our content is based around what people clearly are giving us feedback that they like to see or that worked for them. Now, what might have worked for us yesterday doesn't mean it's going to work for us today. So constantly changing. And I think we're constantly making content, because you can never predict what people are going to like next week, the week after that, the week after that. So we are constantly filming to make sure that we remain flexible and we're always open to change and confronting new topics. But you always, obviously, we have a brand, we have a particular mission. So making sure that that is connected with our product, what we sell, and what we stand behind is what decides if that's going to work or not. Our anatomy artist is a big part of it as well.
I was going to mention, how did you come up with the idea for the anatomy art? Because I've never seen someone do it. Maybe I'm just not looking enough for those videos, but I've never seen anyone do it as well as you all.
Oh, thank you. So, I mean, the anatomy art definitely started before I worked for MoveU. It started with Dr. Mike just literally drawing with a pen on people, like to try and decipher what's working if you were to rip off the skin and to see underneath. And it slowly just got more and more intensified. And then it's become like where we don't even color match it as much. We're starting to color coordinate different areas of the body so that it can really stand out and stick out to people. But we spend a lot of money and time on the anatomy art because, again, it comes back to our goal to make entertainment easily digestible, simplified for like the everyday person, and interesting. And I think people are so intrigued to see muscles in action, what they're really doing. So yeah, so that decides a lot too. Like that day, you know, we'll say this is the region that we're targeting, and then based off that region, we'll kind of decipher it around common diagnoses, common questions we get asked, things that our brand in particular can serve, right? Because products need to solve a problem for people. That's what makes them successful. So as long as we're drawing it back to something that we can really help and aid people in, yeah, so that, I mean, it's educating, it's stretching, it's learning how to strengthen your body in the most aligned way. It's everyday little, like, we'll talk about reaching up and grabbing a dish from your pantry or bending down and putting something in the oven or sitting at a desk all day. So just things that the everyday person can relate to in one way or another and how to improve their life. As long as it comes back to that, we have it. But yeah, the entertainers, I mean, Mike doesn't practice anything in advance. They just wing it. And he's been doing it for so long that he knows, you know, when it's 45 seconds or when he's on the minute on the dot, he just knows it. So that's just from experience of like educating for years and being in front of people and public speaking too.
I was having a conversation with someone about this the other day, and it was around unscalable activities that actually lead to growth. For example, I was talking about writing handwritten thank you cards. I think something with your organization, you mentioned, this could be what you want to give as your answer, was responding to DMs. But if you can, maybe it's that or another concept of what is a unscalable, a pain in the butt marketing activity that actually would lead to growth in your organization.
Yeah, you might have nailed it. We respond to, I mean, okay, there might be a couple exceptions, like if they're just like saying something ridiculous or they send you a gift or there's no question attached or there's no context, but we do our best to respond to every single direct message that we receive in the fastest manner that we can possibly receive. We try and comment back to every single comment that's left for us that has a question that we can respond to or something in which we can communicate back with. Same stands for Facebook, same stands with our members. We have online communities that people can, you know, share their own experiences. We also make sure that they have the opportunity to talk to us there. We have live coaching calls every week that people can go to and talk directly to our coaches or Dr. Mike. So we, like, hours of our day are spent with specifically talking and to our followers or to our members inside.
Awesome. Tell us about a current marketing challenge that you're experiencing.
Yeah, I mean, we're all online. So technology is always going to be a challenge because it's always changing, it's always advancing. People expect more and more every single day. So having to keep up with technology it provides a lot of opportunity. but it also can be really challenging. What seemed fitting for us as a platform one year feels completely outdated the next year. So we're constantly kind of reviewing and reevaluating what platforms serve people the best and what makes it the most easy to access we're going to hopefully eventually have an app here soon that will solve some of those problems. But yeah, so I would say technology just being ever evolving is difficult. And COVID, set a lot of changes, I'm sure, for a majority of companies, but we didn't have half of the competition in the market as we do now since COVID. A lot of people took their services online. And so our marketplace is just a lot more competitive, and to stand out and to be, essentially better than the rest isn't easy. And we have a small team. So that always slows down processes as well.
So with that being said, are there any emerging technology marketing platforms that you're thinking about, whether that's, TikTok, Web3, Oculus, how that could be incorporated in the brand? What's top of mind for you all?
Interesting you bring up TikTok. So our team loves TikToks. We're content creators. Every single person on the team is a content creator in one way or another. So we love TikTok just because it's creative, it's emerging, it allows a lot of people to grow quickly without spending millions of dollars. The hard part for us though on TikTok is that the demographic is fairly young. Mm-hmm. So for a product that we sell, which serves to people, often in pain, often people that have chronic pain, not just acute pain, people that have tried thousands of other ways, we're usually that last option. So what comes with being the last option of trying to improve their health is people that are generally older, people that have gone through more life experiences and have the money and the time to invest in bettering their bodies, which just inevitably is something that more of the youth aren't thinking about yet, right? They haven't experienced pain, right. A lot of them.
They can recover so fast.
They can recover quickly, or they might not, even though we sell something that's also can be very proactive, it can stop you from having pain in the future. Mm-hmm. Not everyone thinks that way until they go through an experience like that. So right. TikTok's demographic is really young for us. However, our goal there is that we have a place in TikTok. We still continue to educate people just like how we started. And maybe 10 years down the line when they are experiencing pain and they see MoveU again, or they think about MoveU again, they're like, wait, I know them. We're spreading brand awareness more than anything on TikTok and spreading that education. But it's not necessarily a money maker for us or right. Big opportunity for financial growth.
You brought up a really interesting point there, which is so much around understanding the demographics of these platforms, and really you're trying to capture attention.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit more about when someone's thinking about whether it's Facebook, Google, YouTube, TikTok, it's just because user growth on TikTok is exploding, if it's all just 14-year-olds who, have never had an injury or just got hurt being a weekend warrior. Tell us a little bit the psychology and even how you think about these platforms to dive into.
Yeah, so our team all agrees that unless you have the time for investing and strategizing in a platform, don't spread yourself thin. So for example, we're not on Twitter because we don't feel like at this time it serves us, or we couldn't give it what it deserves. So we specifically choose the platforms that we are, from that point forward, going to invest time and strategy and that we have the capacity to do, and we're going to give it our all. But we do not spread ourselves thin in platforms that don't serve us as well. We're a lot less on Facebook now, and that has probably more to do with the algorithm and the way things are being served these days. But it doesn't serve us as much as, say, Instagram does currently, or even TikTok for that matter. We're a little bit on YouTube as well, which we put some energy in, but yeah, again, we're not going to spread ourselves thin and decrease the value of our content just because we're trying to hit every platform. What we're on, we're going to give it our all. Mm-hmm. So that's what if I could give anyone advice, it wouldn't be you don't need to be on every single platform and try and be the boss at all of them. Choose your platforms, what serves you best, choose your demographics, The way people, like, we don't have Pinterest, for example, that's also not serving us at this time. So yeah, I don't believe in spreading yourself thin. I think it's really choosing and honing in on the platforms that you choose and make sure that you have a strategy behind that platform.
Tell us a little bit about a marketing fail that you've experienced in your career and share a little bit about your learnings and why it happened.
Yeah. Well, we did a little bit of rebranding at one point, and we actually like restructured our product to match more of our social presence because we were getting feedback a little bit initially with like our flagship program and our flagship products that it was a little bit confusing for people to see us on social and we're silly and we're funny and we're entertaining, and then they go to our programs and they might be a little bit more serious, a little bit. I mean, we're taking people through a regime every day, we're educating people on anatomy. So, and we also always keep in mind that people are in pain. A lot of these people in pain are not happy with where they're at, they're unsatisfied with their quality of life, and often embarrassed to even talk about it or express what they're going through. So what we tried to do was match our products to be a little bit more similar to like our online presence, um, and adding more of that entertainment value wasn't exactly the right move. A lot of people were like, I don't need the fluff. Like, I'm in here. I like you guys, but I committed because I'm in pain and I just need to like get my information and get out. I don't need all the fluff. I have your social for the fluff, right? Like, I can go to your Instagram anytime that I want to get a giggle. But when I'm in the program, like, I'm ready to rock and roll. I just invested X amount of money. So, but the thing about us is that, like I said, we're extremely flexible and we're humble, and if we notice that something's not working, we will change it. We'll change it immediately. So, after that rebranding and trying to have our product match more similarly to our social persona, we realized it wasn't actually the perfect move. So we're still finding that combo of like people like short digestible clips with Dr. Mike's personality, but they don't necessarily need all the extra exciting stuff, So
I have a question to piggyback off of that. And so I'll explain what these means for any non-internet marketing nerds out here. So top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom of funnel. So essentially top of funnel being someone who's experiencing you for the very first time. Middle funnel, someone who maybe they're liking you on Instagram, they're in your database, like they've seen you a few times. And then bottom of funnel is like they're right on the edge of maybe purchasing. Can you share a little bit on that customer journey experience for someone? Then maybe is the tone shifting then that Mike gets more serious the more familiar with the brands you get to purchasing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Actually, you might have just like a light bulb might have just went on in my head of why we even function the way that we do. I think you hit that perfectly. So let's like put that, let's put this example in ads in particular. So for top of the funnel, they're probably getting repurposed social ads that, served really well for people that people resonated with. And we're kind of reminding them like, we're here, we have more free educational content. We post 5 days a week. So, if you haven't been on our page in a few days, I bet you we have some viral content you missed, like go check it out. So that might be our top. Middle funnel might be Dr. Mike's rants, we like to call them, where he's starting to say like, this is why MoveU started. Just to give you some insight, people, I started this because the healthcare system is broken. I'm frustrated with it. I don't want you guys spending thousands and thousands of dollars for the free education that you deserve, or the the lifestyle that you deserve. So they'll start to get maybe some more rants in the middle. Bottom of funnel is more of our testimonials, people that can relate and see people that came out the other side.
Right.
And I think that's a perfect example, like testimonials, and that's where the community really cultivate is for people, is when they see that they're not alone, that people have gone through very similar experiences or gotten the same diagnoses or gone through the same surgeries, and then these people succeeded and that they're okay. So that would be like more of our bottom of funnel. So it definitely gets more serious. Like you said, the tone goes from silly and exciting, come check us out, to like, hey, do you know why we're here, to you can do this. Like, there are other people out there with similar experiences than you.
I would equate that to, I'm thinking of a Super Bowl ad. It was Steph Curry doing, it was something crypto related. And so I'm thinking of, oh, he definitely captured my attention. Is this Steph Curry? And I was thinking, whoa, Steph Curry's doing this. He's a respectable Hall of Fame basketball player. Like maybe I should take crypto more seriously. But then, as I'm like actually wanting to invest and whatnot, like I don't need Steph Curry in this funny commercial. I'm more thinking, what the heck is a wallet? And
Yes.
what is like, do I buy, what is it? I'm totally blanking even on the name, Bitcoin, Ethereum, totally just butchered that. But the point is that like, as I'm further down, I'm like, I'm already sold on it. Just tell me the logistics of how I can start investing.
Yeah. Yep. No, I mean, I think that's it. Like it's getting down to the nitty gritty. Like people initially say, oh, this is interesting, to are you the person that actually, like, can benefit from us? Again, like every product should solve a problem.
Mhm.
And the thing of what marketing is kind of putting a solution in front of people and saying, is this for you?
Mhm.
Right. So when they're that close to purchasing or they're that serious about really changing their life and wanting to better themselves, then time to get serious. Like our program, that's the thing, is like we always call Mike, he's like the bad cop, good cop. Like you never know which one he is at that moment. Because he's the good cop when he's excited and educating, but he's also the bad cop when he's like, this takes time and effort. Just I know I'm fun, I know I'm silly, but like once you're inside of our programs and you're going to dedicate time and work and effort, and even like your mentality needs to be invested
Mhm.
all the way. So yeah, that's like we have to connect the dots, and sometimes it's harder than others, but Mike is like a wave of emotions, and he's very good at expressing all of the above. But yeah, that definitely, yeah, the tone changes. I mean, I've never put it in that way, but that was a perfect way to on the
Thank
head.
you.
Yeah.
Tell us about a marketing campaign at MoveU that you're very proud of.
Yeah. Well, again, I would say like our holiday campaigns are just fun because we're such a small team. We get to be a part of all of it. So we're there on the day that we're filming. We're there the day that we're turning it into actual digital assets. Our editor is working on the videos. I'm working on the digital side of things. Our social media manager is planning how to put those out. So holidays are fun, but I would say like New Year's in particular, as we all know, it's a really good opportunity for people to try and rethink about their goals for the upcoming year, which is really well aligned with us. Like you don't have to settle for what you're settling for now. Like what better time than when the digit changes by one number to restart, like reset. So New Year's for us is really successful and really fun because we get to be um, even like a little bit less silly and more just inspirational, motivational for people. Because Dr. Mike is he's a really good motivational speaker, and it's his time to kind of shine on the more like sensitive, emotional side of MoveU, which is that we just want to help people. That's why we're here. So I think our New Year's is always a good time, and not to mention we always embarrass Mike a little bit. Like we have to put him in some crazy get up, and we have to make him silly. He literally says to me every day, he's like, how humble I have to be for this job, because we put him through the ringer. Like our whole job is to almost laugh at Dr. Mike, right? But it's fun to see him be able to, all of us to be able to like have fun with it and be silly with it, but also like literally change lives and encourage people to better themselves in the upcoming year. So I really enjoy New Year's resolution sales in particular.
Didn't you do some video where Mike was wearing a bikini or something and you were trying to freak people out with like a slow?
Oh, okay, so Katie, his wife, is a creative genius. Most of those are her ideas, where they'll do like half bodies. They'll do Mike's head
Right.
and Katie's body. Hilarious. Like, and that's the thing. Like, he has, I think that's one of my favorite parts about him, is that even though he has a presence online, and well, in Costa Rica, we just went as a team trip, and people will recognize him in the airport, and it's always exciting and fun. But no matter what, he stays extremely humble, because we're going to create this content that is like hysterical, and with him with Katie's butt planted on him, or even like our male models who just most
I saw
recently
that recent one. Yeah.
his head in the male model. Yeah, like he's so good at like laughing at himself, that it makes the job so much more fun. We have but again, Katie is the combo of the two is unreal. I mean, they're our most valuable assets, I would say, just like their personalities. They're such a great combo. So it makes my job that much easier. I just have to communicate it, you know?
Mhm. So the last question today is, what is the best purchase you've made personally or professionally in the last 6 months for under $100?
Okay, tell me if this counts.
As
But
long as it's under $100, it counts.
okay, like this is $12.99 a month. Canva, Canva, you guys, like anyone can be a digital like genius with Canva. We spend very little money on our creative assets, and it makes, but we use it every single
Mhm.
day. So I would say that's like our cheapest. We had, Photoshop, we had the whole Adobe,
Mhm.
set, but we ended up being like, this is $12.99 and we get everything done that we need to get done. This is amazing. So I would just say for anyone out there that's trying to start up their business or market on a cheaper level, like Canva's got it. Gotta have Canva.
I think I'll end it with this too, is that I think that's a really good discussion for marketing departments and budgets, and really making sure that you're allocating funds to the highest performing, highest leverage task you can. Like even for us, for instance, I was having our EA compile lists of email addresses to reach out to. And we realized on Fiverr that we could spend $25 for him to produce 100 email addresses,
Okay.
in which they were the exact right person, like perfect. He even included their social media handles, and it was taking our EA probably 10 to 15 hours to produce 100 emails. And she wasn't even liking to do it. And now she gets to focus on stuff she actually enjoys. And now we have this awesome Fiverr resource who just like spits it out as frequently as we need.
Absolutely. I think that like remembering that we are should be students for life. Like we should always be learning, and you should never not be searching for like the next best thing or anything that could help you out, like you said, on your time,
Mhm.
financially. Like we're always looking. So that unfortunately, of course, it causes like a little bit of chaos. Like you're constantly switching platforms and changing strategies. But like again, to be a student and a lifelong learner is like what's going to make you the best in business, period, I believe. So like the fact that you would seek out that, right, that opportunity, I think is what makes you a good business person. Like you have to just constantly be seeking out new opportunities rather than settling
Mhm.
and letting things get stale. Always be looking for something better.
Well, let's end it with that inspirational note. Kathryns, thank you so much for coming on the NTM Growth Marketing Podcast. Even though this was your first interview, you did amazing. You're going to be next in line to be on camera with Mike and Katie.
Oh, great. I literally just blacked out during that whole thing. So find out about that later. But no, it's easy with you. I love working with your company. So I'm absolutely honored that you asked me to be here today. So thank you.